In 1983, on a cool Halloween night, Joanna Dobbs watched as her husband walked out the front door, heading off to his midnight shift at the local steel mill. The Dobbs didn't have any children of their own, but it was obvious to all those who knew Joanna that she loved kids. Christmas and Halloween were two of the main holidays where she went above and beyond to cater to the neighborhood children. During the Christmas season, she would buy brand new toys and donate them to local drives for families in need. And for the Halloween season, she would stock their house with more than enough candy to give away generous portions to each and every trick-or-treater that came to their door. This particular Halloween night was no exception, and though her husband didn't share her charitable nature, he never interfered with her benevolence. He just never participated. Kids of all sizes came to the Dobbs house that Halloween, and by all accounts, Joanna greeted them all with her warm, welcoming smile and heaps of candy. Joanna had seen countless kids before the night was over, but all had left indelible marks in her heart. That's how much she loved children. That's why when she heard heavy knocks on her front door at 9:30 p.m., 2 hours after the trick-or-treating curfew expired, she didn't hesitate to rise up from her position on the couch in front of her television and grab the final bowl of remaining candy to pass out to her latest visitor. It's believed Joanna peered through the peephole of the door before opening it as an added precaution. It was then that she saw something was terribly wrong. The following is a transcript from the 911 call Joanna placed on that Halloween night seconds after her final visitor.
911, what's your emergency?
Hi, I think I might need an officer to come out to my home.
Okay, ma'am. What seems to be the problem?
There's this guy at my door. At first I thought it was a trick-or-treater, but they're way too big to be a kid.
Okay, ma'am. Is this person outside your home now?
Yeah. When I looked through the peephole, I felt uncomfortable opening the door. I told them I was out of candy, and then they started whispering, "Let me in."
This is what the person outside your home said, ma'am?
Yeah, they did. That's when I asked them to leave, and they said it again. They said, "Let me in," and then they started banging on my door. I figured it might just be some kind of Halloween prank, but I decided to call you guys because the whole thing has me a little on edge.
That's understandable, ma'am. We'll dispatch an officer to you right away. Are your doors and windows secured?
As far as I know, yeah. Oh my God, I think someone just broke my back door window.
Ma'am, did you say someone broke your back door window?
Oh God, someone's coming through my back door. I can hear them.
Okay, ma'am. Is there someone you can hide until officers arrive?
I don't know. Someone's coming through the kitchen. Oh God, please, God, no. There was a ruckus, and then the line suddenly went dead. It took the police 4 minutes to arrive on the scene, and when they arrived at the Dobbs residence, they found the front door locked, but the back door wide open and broken glass on the kitchen floor. As the officers advanced through the house, they discovered signs of a struggle in the living room and bloodstains leading upstairs. The officers trailed the blood to the upstairs bathroom where they found Mrs. Dobbs lying face down in a tub filled with water in her blood. Later examinations would determine that she'd been stabbed 26 times in the chest, face, and stomach, and her throat had been slit to the point of near decapitation. Police sought Mr. Dobbs to reveal to him the tragic fate of his wife, but were unable to locate him initially. It turns out Mr. Dobbs hadn't gone to work that night, or the previous night either. It was learned that Mr. Dobbs was having an affair, and 2 or 3 times a week, while telling his wife he was going to work, would go to his mistress's house instead. This revelation made Mr. Dobbs number 1 on the suspect list, but after his mistress stepped forward and stated to authorities that he was with her on the tragic Halloween night, detectives were left with no other choice but to accept his alibi, though they continued to view him as a person of interest behind closed doors. In the months following Mrs. Dobbs' brutal unsolved murder, Mr. Dobbs collected a $100,000 life insurance policy that he'd taken out for his wife and moved his mistress, who he'd since gotten engaged to, into the home he previously shared with his deceased wife. Those actions, and the speed in which Mr. Dobbs moved on from his wife, kept neighbors who knew and loved Mrs. Dobbs chattering and speculating on whether or not he was involved in her untimely demise. Detectives were also curious of his involvement, but were unable to pursue further actions or investigate any deeper due to their hands being legally tied. The Halloween following Mrs. Dobbs' death, another call had been placed to 911 from the Dobbs' house, only this time it was the soon-to-be Mrs. Dobbs who placed the call. She reported that she'd gone out for a while to go shopping with friends, and when she returned home that evening, the front door to her home was wide open. None of the lights in the house were on, and when she called out to her fiancé, he wouldn't answer. Too afraid to go inside, she wanted police to come out and investigate. Officers armed with their sidearms and flashlights entered the home and immediately discovered bloodstains on the carpet in the living room leading upstairs. Mr. Dobbs' body was found in the upstairs bathroom floating face down in a tub filled with blood and water, his wounds identical to his wife's from the year before, including the precise number of stab wounds. The primary difference with this crime scene versus that of the previous year was the words, "He let me in," written in blood on the wall right above Mr. Dobbs' body. Autopsy photos would show a disturbing image of Mr. Dobbs' face being twisted in absolute horror, like he'd seen the devil incarnate and was murdered instantly afterwards, leaving his final expression of utter fear frozen on his pale face for the rest of eternity. It was a troubling case that left authorities even more baffled than the case of his wife the year before, and if things couldn't get any stranger about the two unsolved murders of the Dobbses, one final clue left detectives and all those involved with the case completely stumped. When analysis of the fingerprints taken at Mr. Dobbs' crime scene came back, it was discovered that the prints from the blood smear writing on the wall belonged to Mrs. Dobbs.